We discussed the mind, and we discussed the universe, and we discussed the interrelationship between the universe, the world, and us, and the mind. Now, how much mind do we actually use? For the time being, the brain. We don't know where it exists except the brain. How much do we use? To survive in this world, even to do research, to do everything, all we need is some parts of the brain. What the civilization we have is the frontal lobe civilization, because the frontal lobe has expanded, neglecting our other parts, and so we have this great civilization. Great. Doesn't it also mean that there are other parts of the brain which are not being used by us, and by disuse have ceased to be active? They could be. The yogis say there are certain parts of the brain which have not been used by mankind for a long, long time, and therefore have become redundant. And there are ways and means by which they can be revived. And this reviving is also part of the practice. I'll give you a simple example. 70, 80 years ago, it was thought that there is a small little endocrine gland. We have a ductless gland system in our body called the endocrine glands. They have no ducts, but it's possible for them to inject a little bit of hormone into our bloodstream. When I say I feel good, what happens? The pituitary gland injects a little bit of serotonin or dopamine into our system. So I feel good. Meditation is a way of how to bring it about actually without depending on the will and fancy of the pituitary. So moods become chemical. True. Check. Happiness factor, serotonin. Now, in the devotional practices, in the practice of yoga, there are ways and means by which it is activated, without waiting for it to happen. I'm not saying that the experience is unreal. I'm saying that for the experience to happen, there is also a chemical change. That's what I'm trying to say. Not that the experience is unreal. Okay, so about 60, 70 years ago, in the midbrain, just near the pituitary but not there, there is a small little gland which is called the pineal gland. Pineal. It's shaped like a small green chili, but it's very tiny. It does have a chemical hormone which is called melatonin. So when I say I'm feeling very sleepy, when it's dark, the pineal sends a small drop of melatonin into my bloodstream. I'm sleeping. What I'm trying to say is that 60, 70 years ago, they thought that it was a vestige organ, useless organ. There was no use for it, just stuck there. Why? Oh, it's like the vermiform appendix, it's just there. Then they discovered it has a very important function to perform. That is, managing what the psychologists call the circadian rhythm, or the neurologists call the circadian rhythm, which means rhythm of sleeping and waking up. Is controlled by this little organ inside, deep in the brain. When you travel across time, not that time, I'm talking about time zones. I hope sometime somebody will travel across time, but time zones, you get jet lag. What is day is night, what is night is day, so you can't sleep. So you go to a doctor, he'll give you melatonin. You say, eat this tablet, you will be fine. Why? Because this melatonin has been interfered with, of the pineal gland. Believe me, I travel across many such time zones, and I come back and the next day I go for a satsang or a talk. So people ask me, don't you have a jet lag? There are yogic techniques by which this can be managed without melatonin. Melatonin is not such a good idea because then you get habituated to it. You can't do without it. Chemical dependence. We know it's little tricks how to handle this. Why? Because we make the pineal push up a little bit. So, why I said this? 100 years ago, much before science got into this, Swami Vivekananda said that perhaps the pineal gland is the stem of the Sahasrara Chakra. How did he know? What is his source of understanding? Where did he get this from? And it's true that it is such an important organ because in the science of yoga, I call it a science, not just art, the science of yoga, the superconscious state, which is called samadhi. Please, samadhi doesn't mean the stone that you keep when somebody is dead. That is maha samadhi. Right? It's a spiritual state called samadhi. When the mind is at peace and quiet. According to Vedanta, it is very similar to deep sleep. But it is not deep sleep. Nobody can reach there through sleeping. Then it would have been nice. But it's very similar to deep sleep is called Sushupti. And Samadhi is Vedantic language called Turiya. Now between Turiya and Sushupti, the dividing line is very thin. Right? Turiya is that when you go to sleep, you are not aware of what's happening. Which is why we are happy and rejuvenated. I don't know who I am. The moment I know my identity, I have a problem, right? They didn't give me enough respect, this, that, you know what. I went to a crowd, nobody, in sleep, the boss and the chowkidar, all are sleeping in the same way. There is no difference. Everybody is asleep. So deep sleep, you are equal. Now, but we are not conscious. When we wake up, we say, oh, that was blissful, which means there was some awareness at that time, but we don't know it at that time. When you wake up, there is a remembrance. So there has been a witness. Turiya is when this witness is there even in deep sleep. Impossible to conceive. Sleep means then there is no witness. So what I am trying to come to this point is that if pineal gland, a little thing in the brain, controls sleep, aren't there other parts of the brain which may control other levels of consciousness? And is there a way to tap it and figure out? If we can, then our dimensions increase. We become a multi-dimensional human being. For us it's a fact. Till some time people thought there is only this world. There is no other world. This earth. From ancient times, 1,000, 2,000 years they have been saying Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Mahat. Many realms, many worlds. When you chant the Gayatri, Bhur, Bhuvaswa, it means in Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka and Swargaloka. All three lokas. Then there are many others. So this belief or the theory that there are many universes, there are many realms, is not so new. Now it is new, of course, in science. Astronomers are discovering day by day hundreds of worlds which may even be inhabitable. Earth like, just now, today morning I saw a report saying that bacteria are those organisms which have DNA, primary DNA like we have, exist also in outer space. Apparently, one of the space vehicles which was in the moon for 3 years was retrieved. They found that there is still some bacteria in it which is alive. Disproving that all life will die in other planets. One second question. I am a person who believes that there are many realms There are many worlds, and I know it, I can't prove it to you because we don't have the test tubes or the reactors to prove it to you. But it is so. I think by and by science will discover. Because science is that which expands, not contracts, expands. Understanding, expanding your understanding. I think we will come to that at some point in time. Light years away today, they say there could be life, but we still don't know how to reach light years away. It will come. So, my last point is, therefore, science and physical science, materials, there is nothing called material science like that. You can't divide it and put a kind of a compartmentalize it. This is physical science. Today physical science and the mind science are slowly getting linked little by little. One point I want to make is that actually there is no difference. And hopefully in future it will merge. And that scientists who think science is only physical need to look a little beyond and go into metaphysics. And 3, actually the essence of me or you and this wide universe are essentially not different, they are the same. So with this I think I am going to wind up today's talk. Thank you.